let's continue in Chapter 9. And in Chapter 9, what we're going to be dealing with is making some modifications to some of these other 3D geometries. The title of Chapter 9 is Other Basic Techniques, and really what we're going to be looking at is just trimming these solid objects and really just continuing to understand and modify these 3D geometries. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a 3D figure. And let's go ahead and start our sketch like we always do, and we'll what I'm going to draw here now is just a rough sketch of something that's in the text, and there's no dimensions given for it or anything. It's just to illustrate a point. I'm going to extrude this sketch 3 inches. What I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to draw on the face of this particular sketch now. I want to draw on this surface, on these 2 surfaces, just to see how it looks. Up to now, we haven't really discussed drawing sketches on other surfaces other than our X, Y, X, Z, or any of these planes. We haven't talked about that yet. So now when I start a new sketch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and select this face, the face of this surface here. Once I've selected the face of this surface, I'm going to go ahead and push OK. And now you see our coordinate axis has changed to accommodate our new view. Okay? So now that we have this new view in place for us, when we start our sketch, you're going to see that it's going to appear on the surface of this shape. Okay, so let me go ahead and just draw something roughly here. What you see is, once again, these shapes have been drawn on the surface of this object. Let's continue. Let me draw another shape here. And one more. And what you guys see is that what I did and what I wanted to show was that I drew these first two sketches, and those sketches appeared on that particular plane. And when I clicked Finish Sketch, you see the other 2 drawings that I drew disappeared. And the reason that happened was because all of those drawings were done on the surface of this plane. So you see they're all on different surfaces. So in order for those sketches or those to appear, I will need to start a new sketch, select a new surface that I want to draw it on, and now I can continue drawing a particular shape that I might use. So I would finish that sketch, start a new one. I will need to select this one, and I could draw a happy face. So maybe you guys draw a sad face if you're not liking feeling happy or something, I don't know. But you guys see what I've done now is you selected 3 different sketches and 3 different planes to draw our sketch on, and now we have our tool available to us to draw on other sides of this a particular object. Okay, let me do a new sketch here. So let's start a new part, and let me go ahead and pick a plane to draw on. I'll pick the XY plane again, and I'm going to draw another rough sketch, something that's not really dimensions again are not necessarily given to us for this particular one, and we can just kind of modify it as we see. So I'll just draw something like this. Okay. I'm I'm going to finish it. And once again, let's go ahead and extrude this one 3 inches. Okay? So we extruded the shape 3 inches. Let's go ahead and create a sketch on the surface of this face, and what I'm going to want to do is I want to create a hole on the surface of the face now. So what I want to do, let's go ahead and start a new sketch. And I'm going to select this surface of the face to draw my new sketch on. And let's click this tool here to draw our sketch on. Now you see something that can be annoying is that now that we're trying to draw on the surface, we may not be able to get it aligned. What you can do is you can go to View, and you can orient the view to Sketch. And what that does is it helps us set the piece and where our plane is that we're trying to draw on. Or you can just press Shift and F8. That may help you also. So let me go ahead and draw this. So I'm going to go ahead and draw some shape here, and we'll fix this to meet with our constraints in just a second. Okay, and so what you see is some kind of hole here, some kind of shape that we've drawn. We can orient the shape. We can set the position of the shape. I don't know. This maybe let's say is 1.5 or maybe 1.3 or 1.35, let's say. Okay. Try to center it. We can also give constraint to the radius here. We can say that has a dimension. We can say this has a constraint. I think in the text this is 1.5. The radius here is 0.2. And of course we can set some others. We could say this length should be equal lengths. These two lines in this particular case, let's see here. These two lines should be equal length, and that will make these also perpendicular to one another. So this particular sketch, what also we can do is let me go ahead and also select the center of this arc, and I'm going to fix it. Okay? And here it's giving me a sign that it's over-constrained, and this is the one that's over-constraining this particular sketch. So now you see that the sketch is fully constrained, that we've drawn on the surface of this. Now, what we can do is, now that we're done drawing the sketch on this solid object, let's go ahead and extrude this shape. So let me go ahead and select this object, and I'm going to go ahead and extrude it 1.5 inches, and we have to be careful because look, it's being extruded outside of this object, and what I want to do is I want to create a hole. I'm going to extrude it inside of this object, and I'm going to click OK. And what you see here is now we've created a hole in this particular shape, something like a keyhole, and you say, oh, maybe this is sticking out of the bottom. We can always go in and change the depth of this extrusion. So I just changed it to 1 inch. And now you see that we've created a hole in this solid object on a face, something that we hadn't done before. I'm going to cover also very quickly now the shell features, and then we'll continue on in Chapter 9 covering some other cool functions that we can do later. So let me start one more new part, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch, okay, and I'm going to go to draw a circle, and the circle I'm going to draw is going to have a diameter of 3 inches. Okay, I'm going to extrude this circle now 4 inches. So let's go ahead and finish the sketch, and we'll extrude it. We'll select our curve, and we'll extrude it 4 inches. Well, let's see, I missed something where I needed to set this offset now. Let's go ahead and set a two-sided offset, and let's make sure this offset is set to 0.75. And you see we have some kind of donut-looking shape that we've drawn. Now I'm going to show you guys this last feature before the next lesson called a shell. And what shell does is it hollows out the shape that we're trying to draw. Okay, so I'm going to go to Insert, Offset, or well, let's see, Insert, Offset Scale, and I'm going to click this option called Shell. And shell's going to be relatively easy to use. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to input a thickness of 0.38 here. And I'm going to select the outer surface. So I'm going to select the outer surface of this extrusion. And what did you see happen? Well, it deleted that outer surface. So let's say I wanted to select also this face, also this outer face. And what happened? It deleted the outer face of that particular object, and now what I'm left with is a piece that I was able to trim now once it was in a three-dimensional shape. So there's some tools for you guys to use in Chapter 9, the sketching on any kind of surface we want, and you can see how we can use that if we're trying to make a hole at a particular angle or on a particular side of the face of some object. And we'll cover some other trim options and some other different things that we can do in the next lecture.